Tottenham Hotspur keep their top four hopes, Champions League football hopes alive. They came from behind to win, courtesy of an absolute stunner. A stunner from one of the signings of the season, Mickey van der Ven, the second centre-back to score today, playing in a left-back position. What a winning goal it was. That sends Burnley back down to the Championship at the first time of asking. So commiserations to them and to Vincent Kompany. Very beautiful football, just not the depth and quality of squad to remain in the hardest and best league in the world. They go back down. Probably does Chelsea a little bit of a favour because Forest are practically safe now. Looking at the league table from the bottom point of view, because Luton lost, Forest are safe. Not mathematically, but in terms of goal difference, they're so far. I don't think they'll get beat 7 or 8-0 tonight and 7 or 8-0 on the final day of the season. They're pretty much going to be okay. But Tottenham, as we scroll up to the top here, they go 4 points behind Aston Villa. Villa play Monday night. Spurs will have a game in hand. If they lose Aston Villa to Liverpool on Monday night, and Spurs do what they've done regularly and beat Manchester City at home, there'll be a point between the two of them going into the final day of the season to give us even more drama. And if Spurs do that, by the way, if Spurs create that drama, it's great for them. But it also means the title race is alive on the final day of the season as well. And it could be goal difference that decides it. We could be in for an epic end. But of course, it's going to be a very tough game for Spurs against Manchester City, the very best team in the world. Villa have still got to lose that game to Liverpool as well. So much to play for, so much to tune in for as well. Jules here says, what is this title? I see what you're doing, Terry. You know full well Arsenal fans will join to cry. But I don't know what you mean. Top four is alive and they're playing City next. This is about Tottenham and your hopes of Champions League football next year. That is what you should be focused on more so than anything else. And yes, City fans here laughing. Top four is alive. Top four is alive. Tell me how it's not. Tell me how it's not. There's 6 points to play for, potentially with a game in hand, and there's a 4-point gap. Well, not potentially with the game in hand. They have a game in hand. They win that. And you know what I'm saying? But there we go. It's definitely still on. Spurs always be Spursy and bending over for City incoming. We'll see. We will see. Look, I thought Spurs today, it was a game of two halves. It was a proverbial game of two halves. That's all I really saw today. First half of the game, they conceded. They did equalize pretty soon after that. They had the majority of the ball. They had some chances, but they looked a little bit lackluster, really, in that first half for me. And I didn't like where Skip was playing. I didn't like what he was doing in the team. But the second half was a completely different kettle of fish. They brought on Dragusin and they moved. I mean, that didn't happen until a little bit later in the game. They started off really, really well. I'll get to the Dragusin bit in a minute. They started off the second half with a lot more tempo to the game. They started the second half with more fire in their belly. They clearly got an absolute rollicking. Forget tactics. They got a rollicking from Big Ange at halftime. This is the relegation team. We're at home. We fight to the end. We don't throw in the towel. And they came out playing well. And they were looking good. But it did have the feel of a game that was going to end up a draw or Burnley might nick it. And then some changes came. And I thought when Dragusin coming on and Dane Scarlett, it changed things. And I really like that tactical change from Big Ange. And a lot of people get on at Big Ange. Where's the tactical changes? The tactical changes were that he moved Mickey van der Ven to left back. And a number of Spurs fans have been asking for that for weeks. And it opened Spurs up a little bit more. They looked, when I say open them up, it allowed more football to flourish. Having Dane Scarlett up front, a recognized number, okay, let me rephrase that. Not recognized as a star yet, but an actual number 9 who's been brought up playing in that position. They just looked more fluid. There was more balance to their team, which allowed that fluidity. They had the chance that Brendan Johnson should have put away a few moments earlier. then the goal. It was a thoroughly deserved win by Tottenham. And look, they probably should have won by 2 or 3 goals more, if the truth be told. Burnley definitely had their chances. Most people create chances against Tottenham at this particular moment in time. But it was a very, 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 for me, enjoyable game. I enjoyed it. I don't know how Spurs fans feel. I don't know. Burnley fans clearly didn't. But as a neutral watching, I really liked it. But I thought Big Ange really did deserve credit for that change that he made. He made it on the 75th minute. He gave the team from the first half an opportunity to go out there and sort of, to a degree, make amends for that first half, which I don't really think was up to scratch. And I don't know too much about Dane Scarlett. I don't know, he's 20 years of age. I don't know if he's going to make it at Tottenham based on the fact that he hasn't had a lot of game time for them. And that's always a telltale sign of a problem that you get to. I know that Harry Kane went out on loan a lot, but at 20 years of age, he played for the first team 15 games in all comps. He's probably not going to be someone that the club is looking to invest in. But he came on, it just gave them a little bit more shape, a little bit more balance. And I think it really helped to improve what it was they were doing. But yeah, look, deserved the win thoroughly. Let's go to some more of your comments that have come through here. This front line needs to be ripped up and start again. Utterly embarrassing. The level of chances missed. Fair play to Porro and Mickey van der Ven for bailing us out. No, I do hear you. Look, Brennan Johnson, the miss from him at the back post. I know it was whipped across. But even later on, you were 2-1 up. And Brennan Johnson just got a dinker ball into the middle. I think Son was free for a tap-in. I don't know what Brendan Johnson was doing. It was awful. And you are right. That area of Spurs needs to improve massively. Tottenham need to end the season well for next season. Look, I think that this idea of giving up because they were 7 points behind with 9 games to play is ridiculous. If they gave up today and lost and then Villa lose, they've thrown away an opportunity. Let's not pretend like Unai Emery's teams haven't crumbled before. They are probably going to make it, Villa. But Spurs fans and the Spurs fans are behind what I'm saying. I could hear their crowd during the game having a pop at their team. You're not moving the ball fast enough. You're not playing with enough desire. It's like you're not trying to win. That, with the tactical changes from the manager, really sort of got it up them. And they up their game. And they do need to end the season well, especially with teams behind them coming up. This win today was so important because I think, what did Newcastle's game end in the end? That was 1-1 the last time I checked. It did end 1-1, so fair enough. But, Chelsea are playing later. If Chelsea win, they go 6 points behind them. They're probably not going to catch them now. Had they not won today and maintained that desire to win, you take these 3 points away, you never know. You never, ever know. So, of course, they have to end the season well. City will beat Spurs 5-0 is what Luxury Cat believes here. Terry hates Man City for their brilliance. Pathetic. I haven't mentioned Man City. Other than talking about in Spurs' context. I did a whole 45 minutes on City earlier today, saying they're the best team in the world. One of the greatest teams to ever grace English football. What are you talking about? What? Me saying top 4 is on for Spurs. Please tell me, Man City fans, why certain City fans are upset about that. Why are City fans angry? Or why? I don't get it. It's a very strange reaction, if I'm being honest. I'm going to get Alan out now to have his say on the game today. Welcome, Alan.
We won. Where are the rest of the Spurs fans? No one here?
No. I don't know if KJ shared the link with them. I don't know what's going on, but they're not here.
Oh, well, I'll have to be a positive Pete and then a negative Nelly after that. It's fine. I'll have to do 2 things at once then. Look. First of all, a win to stop the rot after 4 defeats in a row. Obviously, well needed and on the basis of the game, well deserved. But whereas there were good bits from the team and certain players, there was also a lot of poor as well. Van der Ven, fantastic goal finish, shows more composure than most of our front line today. Porro, again, another great finish. In the midfield, I thought Sarr was sensational again, pushing up, breaking up play. Winning the ball high up, showing the intensity that the midfield needed. For me, I see a lot of positives from this team for next season, but that front line needs an overhaul. It is not good enough. You can say the defense and the midfield at times, certain aspects of the midfield are of top 6, top 5, top 4 quality, but that front line is just it. For me, it's bang average. It's middle of the table. It's nothing special. We need a huge overhaul of that front line. Son looked better today on the wing. As a number 9, he was absolutely horrendous. He was poor. As soon as he got onto the wing like he did against Liverpool, he came alive. He showed what he can do. He needs to stay as left wing. He's not a number 9. We need a new number 9. We need a new winger. There's some of the, obviously, things off the top of the head that I thought was good and bad with Spurs. But the main thing is the 3 points. Top 4 is not happening, Terry. We're not going to beat City. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's done. It was on 7-8 weeks ago when we were actually ahead of Villa by 1 or 2 points and we had a game in hand. It's not. It's not on. It hasn't been on for some time. But yeah, look. At the moment, it looks like 5th is where we'll finish, which is a bit ahead of where I thought. So overall, a good season in that aspect. But when we were at 4th and we could have gone on and we were closer to the top 3 than what we wanted, it could have been such a better season. But it's fallen apart because of lack of depth. And hopefully in the summer we rebuild and go again. But better performance overall. But you could say it's the type of team we were playing. Burnley, no disrespect to Burnley, but compared to when we played better teams, we got taken apart. But yeah, a win. A win is a win. And yeah, we'll go from there. But that front line needs a massive uplift in the summer. Really, really poor at times.
I agree with that. Dan, what did you make of your boys today?
Before anything, Mickey van de Ven. What a footballer. What a footballer. I said it so many times. Every time I come on the show, I say something, but one of the opinions I say that one of the things I say that I could get behind every time I say it, Mickey van de Ven one day will be a world-class center back. This guy, he has all the attributes to be a world-class center back. And not only that, he can defend. The guy can defend, but he can also go and whip it into the bottom corner. He's a better attacker than our attackers. Like this guy, the other week he got given the Spurs player of the season, and I 100% agree. He's also, I think, a candidate of player of the season in the Prem, like signing of the season as well. I think he's one of those candidates for all those things. He's just been so good for us this season. And in terms of the performance from all the players, I don't think we were good enough today, especially in that first half. At the end, we started playing more of Ange ball, but Ange ball we love to see, passing the ball around. We were breaking them down a lot more. I thought we were very fortunate. I'm not a liar. I come on here and I have my standards on what I say. I think we were lucky today. Because that last chance at the end could have been a penalty to Burnley. 100% it could have been. And it was
on that. Who conceded a penalty like that? Man United conceded one against Chelsea similarly. But I swear there was a really famous penalty in the last week or two where 2 players' legs just touched each other without... I can't remember which game it was. I'm racking my brains.
Tottenham versus Arsenal. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna keep my standards, because that game you're talking about was Tottenham versus Arsenal when Kulusevski went into the box and Trossard got clipped. And it's the same thing where it's like not intentional. Yes. It's not intentional and everything. I said it was a penalty. Today I'm gonna say a penalty again. It's a penalty again. I'm gonna stay consistent and say that today we got very lucky and it was a penalty. But at the same time, all these Arsenal fans on Twitter saying that we robbed Burnley when it happened to them, it wasn't a robbery. I mean, like, double standards is insane. But I don't think the first half today was good enough, and I think at the end we were playing a lot better.
Just to go back on Dan, for me, we looked better and we were starting to take Burnley apart or what, like that when Burnley were having to come out and play because they needed to win to stay up. So when they started pushing up, that's when Spurs came alive. And when they were sitting in the first half and actually keeping shape on that, we did, again, with that front line, didn't do any, but we hardly done anything to him. It was so slow. So, not good enough, not decisive, not clear enough. It was pathetic, that front line. And we only got to them when they had to come out and play because they needed the win. So, again, I think we're taking the fact that Burnley gave up on their game plan because they needed to win, rather than the fact that if they were still sticking, a draw would have been good enough for them, you wouldn't have seen them come out and you wouldn't have seen us break them down. I think there's a clear difference between actually being good enough and being afforded an opportunity because the team needs to score and needs to. So again, I think that front line, not good enough. Not good enough for me.
No, do you think it's time to potentially cash in on Son?
I've said in recent weeks, and I'll stick to this, if we needed a new front line, Son's the last one to go because he has, like you said, you move him onto the left wing and you saw him play better. So you would need to keep him on the left or stuff like that. I would have to have him as the last to go, but the new front line, if you're looking for a team to build and grow, you want a young, dynamic, obviously front foot team, people that can take a ball and drive and go at team. You'd want two wingers, you want a striker to fit that bill, and then Son would be the fourth, and that would be your front four. Obviously, then have to keep certain players to like in the squad to flesh it up, like to have an impact. Brennan Johnson would be an impact sub for me because of how he plays. And then you'd probably have another one if you brought somebody in. But that would be my thing. A front three, Son as the fourth, maybe Johnson as the fifth, and then an extra additional person. But as a front line, in recent games, that front line has looked awful, average at best. And yeah, Son's only come alive in the last two games on the left wing. It's being honest.
Yeah, I think the reason why I mentioned Son is, listen, I think he's in the top 5 or 6 players in the Prem this year for goal contributions. But you know, Brendan Johnson's going nowhere this summer because you've only just bought him, and I don't think he'll move on. I just look at Son and think, how many more years are you going to get this out of him? Could you raise additional money because you're going to get a lot more money for him, in my opinion, still than you would a Richarlison? That's the only reason I ask. I think on quality, he's the last to go.
Yeah.
But you don't want him to go and be valueless, do you?
No, also, he brings so much to Spurs in regards to commercial, like as a commercial aspect and all that, and obviously as a profitable asset to the club. So he will be the last to go. He'll probably retire at Spurs. We won't cash in on him. I believe he'll retire at Spurs, and that's it. That's it done. I don't think we'll sell it.
That makes sense. I wanted to, there was actually something in my head I wanted to ask you boys, and it's absolutely gone. So Daniel, do you think top 4 is done from this point, or are you going to make your mind up after that when it comes to the, after the full-time whistle goes against City on Tuesday?
Look, I think top 4 is done, and to be honest, I don't even want to get Champions League because what's the point of being in it? Because I know this team won't compete for Champions League. I feel like we have more of a chance to win the Europa League, and we can make it far. We can have a lot more far. We could go a lot more farther than the Europa League. I feel like Champions League would just literally be for Levy's pocket, so he can get the commercial revenue. So I don't see any point. I don't think we deserve it with the performances we played this season. If you would have asked me midway in January if we would deserve Champions League, 100% we would have with those performances we were putting in, but it's all falling off. The wheels are falling off, and I don't think we even deserve Champions League. I think Villa has been better than us this season, and just congratulations to Aston Villa. At the same time, it could be part of me wanting City to batter us, so I don't want to have that excuse of being like, I don't want Champions League, but I just don't think we're going to get it either way. I think Aston Villa are not going to drop as many points as we need them to, and I don't think we're going to end up, even if we wanted to, I don't think we could beat Man City, to be honest.
Even if you don't think you could beat them?
I feel like maybe we could put up a fight, but to be like the way that they've been playing, they haven't dropped points in I don't know how long. I know we've got that little thing against Man City where we're usually their bogey team and everything, but I think that all fell off in the FA Cup when they beat us at home. I feel like if we played them, they would tear us apart anyways if we really wanted to beat them. So I think I'd rather just, I mean, it would be the most Spursy thing ever to just let Man City beat us. Not to beat Man City and then go on to lose like our next game or something, but it's just written in the stars. It's just how Tottenham is. That probably what's going to end up happening, to be honest. But I just think that we haven't been good enough this season to get Champions League anyways, and congrats to Aston Villa. They deserve top 4.
Matt has asked a question. I know we know Daniel's answer already. Do you think Burnley should have had a penalty at the end of the game?
No, I don't think it was a penalty. I'll be consistent. When it happened with Kulu was clipped, I didn't think it was enough in it to be a penalty as well. I said that on other channels, so I'll be consistent and say I don't think it was. But even a point wouldn't have saved them, so they would have gone down anyway, as far as from what I know. So a penalty wouldn't have really done anything about it. So it is what it is. But it doesn't matter about what we do against Man City. By the time we get to that game, Man United would have done the business against Arsenal when it's irrelevant.
Well, that's also very true. If United were to pull off a shocker, Villa beating Liverpool, all of these things play into it. But I think if Villa lose, listen, you never know. I get both playing both at your best. City win. I understand that. Yeah. Anything can happen in football. Quality of relegated teams poorer than the past teams. Well, I've seen a lot of people kick. I saw Mark Goldbridge tweet that it shows how bad the league is. All three teams have gone back down. I've done a small bit of research, a very small bit of research. The teams that got promoted in the 2020-21 season were Fulham, West Brom, and Leeds. And I don't think all three went straight back down as far as I'm aware. 21-22 season, Norwich, Watford, Brentford came up. We know Brentford survived. 22-23 season, Fulham, Bournemouth, Forest all came up. They all survived last season, and they've all survived this season. Obviously, this season's three promoted teams look like they're all going down. Forest have pretty much survived again. But I look over the last 4 years, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the promoted 12 teams have gone back down. But 5 out of how many have gone back down? Sorry, did I say 1, 2, 3,
stayed up?
4, 5. 5 have gone back down, and 4 have stayed up. That's not a bad. Like, people go on like, I don't think that's a bad ratio. Or maybe I'm wrong.
No, for me, if you were saying from the Championship that like all but 1 or 2 teams have gone, like everyone has gone back down, 1 or 2 teams stayed up, then you'd be like, it's a serious question to ask what's going on there. But if it's as close as that, then just over 50% go back down and the rest stay up. So it's not a big problem. I just think teams obviously just need to be brave when they come up to the Premier League and not just feel like.
And you go to the year before that as an example. Norwich City came up, Sheffield United came up, Villa came up. But we know Villa stayed up and Sheffield United stayed up the first year. It's only one back. So you go back a further year, it's 12 teams. Now you're getting closer to 50. Now you're getting near 50%. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to go back and actually do the research. And then you've got to cross-reference it against all the other top 4 leagues, top 5 leagues across Europe to see whether I just sometimes feel like we make throwaway statements as fans, which are just, how different is the Premier League to the other leagues in terms of newly promoted sides? And generally, the teams that I get Villa staying up is probably a lot easier than a Burnley when you look at the size of the football club. But I just think we overstate it a little bit. I'm not too sure what you think.
Yeah, look, for me, like I said, teams that when they come up, they have to spend correctly. They have to obviously prepare. They have to come up and show no fear, and obviously, play their own brand football. But again, just the way the yo-yo teams, it seems to always be the similar teams that come up all the time. Like, I haven't come up for a while, but West Brom, Norwich, Watford, these teams that go down come back up, and I like to see new teams come up. So Ipswich coming up this year is a revelation. I hope they do really well. Same with what Forest had. They haven't been back in the title in the Premier League for a while, back-to-back seasons. So, yeah, I think people just instantly say, all these teams go straight back down. I think, like I say, it's just a throwaway statement, but it's not from what you've obviously shared with us, the stats. It doesn't actually prove that it's just, just one-sided, that Championship teams just go straight back down. And because from the way the Premier League started when I was watching it, the complete and utter change in teams that have gone down, never come back up, and new refreshment of teams over the years, it's not as clear-cut as what people are saying.
I've just gone back another year to the 2018-19 season. Wolves came up, Cardiff came up, Fulham came up that year. 2 did drop back down that following season, but then Fulham came straight back up again as well. So there's an element of a little bit of sort of move. But then Fulham have remained in the league. And then Fulham, I think, went down again. And then they came back up, and now they've lasted 2 seasons. So there is a bit of turnover in there, and I understand it. But this idea that all 3 promoted teams go straight back down every season, I think it's just maybe a little bit overstated, maybe. But I probably need some research into it, if that makes sense. But I just don't. When you hear something or you read something, and you think to yourself, that doesn't quite read true. Come on, you Spurs, from Sid G. He says, "Come on, you Spurs, time to win it for North London."
The thing is, I see what Arsenal fans are doing, but let's be honest, you're actually on here paying money to twerk for Spurs to help you win the league. It's
thank you all.
Do it in your own time, do it on your own merit, rather than having to have Spurs do it for you. Sort yourselves out. Embarrassing.
But imagine the scenes. Man United beat Arsenal. I know, Terry, I know it's like far-fetched, but Man United beat Arsenal. Then it comes to Man City. If they win the league at our house, that's it. They win the league. Pitch invasion. All Tottenham fans run on the pitch with City fans, all of us celebrating. All the world celebrates Arsenal, the scum, don't win the league.
By the way, if Spurs were to actually do that, if your fans pitch invaded with City, if they won the league, I don't think they can mathematically. No, they could mathematically win it, couldn't they? If
Man United win, and we let
and
Man
then they
City
win. If Spurs fans did a pitch invasion with City and celebrated with them, you do realize, Dan, you could never ever. That would be the first time in my living memory of a team that isn't winning the league celebrating it like they did. You couldn't live it down. You couldn't live it down, mate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care one bit. I would absolutely love it. I mean, over here, Miami, I'll be throwing a parade outside. Man City win the league. The Arsenal another year bottling it, and
Dan, have some shame. You were here in October.
I have no shame.
You were in October championing a Tottenham title charge or title win or whatever it was. You and other people. So you can't then go and say you'd love it and you'd celebrate with Man City for them winning the league when you were putting your house on it. Come on, have some shit.
Correct. Yeah. Listen, I get. It's one of these things. If Arsenal win it, I'll be happy that a four-peat hasn't happened, but I wouldn't, like, people think I wouldn't join in the celebrations, as in, like, I've had Arsenal fans have said things to me like, oh, would you go to the parade? No, I won't even watch it. Like, it won't make me feel good because Arsenal have won it, is in them as an entity. It would be stopping City doing a four-peat, but I do hear you, mate. I do. I do get where you're coming from. Big up, Kate. I hope you're well. Sending in a super sticker. We can't show them on the screen what the sticker looks like. But thank you for sending that in. I appreciate it a lot. Look, people, I'm gonna go and watch the Nottingham Forest Chelsea game. See what happens in that. I'm really intrigued to see if this turnaround by Chelsea, whether it's real, whether it's been a little bit of a false storm. Forest do need to win today to guarantee staying up. So I think it's going to be an intrigue. It's going to be an intriguing one indeed. I'm going to go watch that. We're live afterwards, people. I want to thank the boys for coming on, to our super chatters, everyone who's hit the like button. A big thank you to all of you. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon.